ready to begin the agenda review. We have the Brunswick City Market 2013 budget for the hearing. We have resolution 061-208, which is a resolution to read 2013 city market budget by title. Resolution 061-300E, which is a resolution to adopt the 2013 city market budget. We have a request for change in floor plan by Kelly's Corner. The Gala Cafe continuation of conditions of ABC license has been adjourned until June 19th. We have Nikiera Bar. We have a public hearing for continuation of conditions of ABC license.
Late this afternoon, we got a clerk's office got a call from Mr. Cousins. This client does not want to oppose the reimposition of the matter, so I have a new resolution for replace the one that's back.
That was Nikiera. La Famosa Inc., continuation of conditions of ABC license, and Kelly's Corner, continuation of conditions of ABC license. We have ordinances on second reading. We have ordinance 05102. It's an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Time Limit Parking on Louis Street. We have ordinance 05103, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Chapter 10, Vehicles and Traffic, U-turn prohibition, Tennyson Road at Stockton Road intersection, stop intersection, stop signs installed on Stockton Road at Tennyson Road and Stockton Road intersection. Ordinance 05104, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Ordinances for discussion on first reading. Ordinance 06101, bond ordinance amending and supplementing board ordinance number 0120-903, which provides for the construction of the New Brunswick Landing project. Heretofore finally adopted by the City Council of the City of New Brunswick in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, on December 16, 2009, to increase the appropriation therein to $1,900,000 and to increase the authorization of funds or notes of the city to $1,900,000 to finance part of the cost thereof.
Mr. Clark, if you don't mind me just jumping in. The New Brunswick Landing project was wholly a county project. Yet some of the Green Acres grant and loan money flowed through the city. And this ordinance is just doing the final accounting of all of that. At the end of the day, there was $1.9 million worth of state grant in this project, $1.9 million of state loan in the project. While the loan is on our books, the county, by separate agreement, is servicing that debt. It's a zero cost to the city. This ordinance tries to capture all that.
Ordinance 06102, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Chapter 10, Vehicles and Traffic, to leave meter parking on Somerset Street alongside the View and Barnes and Noble storefronts, and add limited parking zone in Somerset Street alongside the View and Barnes and Noble storefronts. Ordinance 06103, an ordinance to fix the salaries and wages for Firemen's Mutual Benevolent Association, local number 17, for 2011 to 2014. Ordinance 041-304, amend the management salary ordinance for 2012 to 2014. Resolutions. Resolution 06101, resolution to approve agenda amendments. Resolution 302, approve payrolls for May 11, 2013 to 5/24/2013. Resolution 303, authorize refund for redeemed tax sales certificates. Resolution 304, approve emergency temporary appropriations for 2013. Resolution 305, resolution to set tax levy for Board of Education for 2013. Resolution 306, resolution to approve or disapprove request for changing floor plan by Kelly's Corner, 75 Morrell Street. Resolution 307, authorize lease of copy machine for Division of Fire Prevention. It's a 48-month lease for G Capital Information Tech Solution, doing business as Rico USA, for one Rico model digital copier system, not to exceed $110 and $25 per month, beginning on July 1st, 2013, and ending June 30th, 2017. This is state contract. Resolution 308, authorized lease of copy machine for finance department, 48-month lease from G Capital Information Tech Solutions, doing business as Rico USA, for one digital copier system not to exceed $131.90 per month, beginning July 1st, 2013, and ending on June 30th, 2017. Resolution 309, approve amendment of Resolution 021377, award extension of contract with Quality Communication System, formerly WPCS International Inc., Lakewood Operations. The term is July 7th, 2013, July 6th, 2014, not to exceed $13,136. Resolution 310, approve award of contract with Motorola Solution for 10 Motorola radios and accessories for the fire department, not to exceed $19,199.68, and this is a state contract. Resolution 311, approve award of contract for rehabilitation home improvement, $1,000 for Pascual and Diane Chirello, 136 Tennyson Road, not to exceed $13,050. Resolution 312, approve award of contract with Institute for Forensic Psychology for psychological services for the police and fire departments. It's a 12-month period beginning on June 7, 2013, and ending on June 6, 2014, not to exceed $12,750. This is per annum. Resolution 313, approve request for street closing by the New Brunswick Middle School, New Brunswick Board of Education. The street location is George Kimmer Avenue between 9th and 12th Street. This is for the field day for the middle school on Thursday, June 20th, 2013, and Friday, June 21st, 2013, from 8 a.m. to 2:35 p.m. Resolution 314, approve request for use of city property. This is requested by St. Peter's University Hospital, location Bula Park, field area between Eastern Avenue and Inner Loop, for health fair on Saturday, September 28, 2013, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Resolution 315, approve amendment of to resolution 051308, change of date. Approve request for use of city property, requested by New Beginnings Deliverance Ministry. The location is on Fister Park for a summer of peace event with food, music, speakers, and performances. The new date is Saturday, August 31st, 2013. The park usage is from 10 to 8 p.m. and the basketball court time is from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Resolution 316, approve request for use of city property requested by High Rondell Stephen Memorial Scholarship Fund, and the location is Beulah Park, Young Path, and Pavilion area for a walkathon to benefit High Rondell Stephen's Memorial Scholarship Fund on Saturday, October 19, 2013, from 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Resolution 317, approve request for use of city property requested by New Brunswick African American Heritage Positive People Production, CO Alvin Fair. The location is Recreation Park for a festival for children ages 5 to 12 on Saturday, August 10, 2013, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Resolution 318, authorize tax collector to transfer overpayments on several tax and utility accounts. Resolution 219, approve request for street closing and use of city park requested by the New Brunswick Recreation Department. The location is Livingston Avenue from George Street to the State Theater from 7:15 p.m. to 8:30. Boyd Park from 6 p.m. to 10:30. Newman Square Park from 7:15 to 8:30 for the Independence Day celebration on Sunday, July 7th, 2013, for its extra duty required. Resolution 320, approve request for use of city property requested by New Brunswick African American Heritage Positive People Productions, Yo Alvin Fair. This is for Memorial Stadium for a festival in commemoration of Juneteenth, celebrating the end of slavery in the United States on Saturday, June 22nd, 2013, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Resolution 321, approve payment to James Mastriani Esquivel for arbitration fees. This is in reference to RWDSU Local 108, not to exceed $1,620. Resolution 322, approve amendment of Resolution 05041-308, And the reason is to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $306 to Benedict and Altman for Anderson versus Anthony Caputo from $2,473.50 to $2,779.50. Resolution 323, approve amendment of resolution 031-363. The reason is to pay legal fees in the amount of $292 to Lawrence Peterman for Michael Bobadilla in the matters of Oswaldo Hernandez, Jorge Lopez Nieves, and Jose Grandados Joya versus the city of New Brunswick, not to exceed $1,292. Resolution 324, approve amendment of resolution 031-362. The reason is to pay legal fees in the amount of $122 to Benedict and Allman for Police Director Anthony Caputo in the matter of Stephen Middleton versus the city of New Brunswick, not to exceed $1,122. Resolution 325, approve amendment of resolution 041-372. The reason is to pay legal fees in the amount of $164.50 to Benedict and Allman, Detective Grant Gregus in the matter of Oswaldo Hernandez, Jorge Lopez Nieves, and Jose Grandados Joya versus the city of New Brunswick, not to exceed $1,164.50. Resolution 326 is adjourned to June 19, as requested by the license. Resolution 227, approve, disapprove continuation of special conditions for the 2013-2014 liquor license for Miguel Gavar, 14 Jersey Avenue. Resolution 328, approve or disapprove continuation of special conditions for 2013-2014 liquor license for La Famosa, Inc., 117 Benson Avenue. Resolution 329, approve or disapprove continuation of special conditions and renewal for 2013-2014 liquor license for Kelly's Corner, 75 Mobile Street.
Council President, let me explain to all of you the difference on these. Michiera and La Famosa paperwork is not in as far as tax clearance and all that, so that whatever you do there, the license cannot be removed. Kelly's, on the other hand, already say that the conditions will be included in the resolution that will approve the license renewal in the year. They're just two different things.
Thank you.
Resolution 330, authorized sheriff services agreement. It's a 2-year contract with the Borough of Highland Park for animal control services. The term is January 1st, 2013 to December 31st, 2014. 2013, $26,474, and 2014, $27,003. This is non-from Tom. Resolution 331, authorized property lien for 310 Townsend Street. The amount is $1,505. Resolution 332, approve authorization to advertise for 2013 traffic light sweeping. Resolution 333, approve amendment of resolution 071-244, change order number 1 with Black Rocks Enterprises for reductions and increases in contract quantities for the sanitary sewer improvement to Drew Street and the Honda Life Church. Since this change order reflects equal credits and debits to the contract, no additional funding is needed. Approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% of more of the amount of the original contract. Resolution 334, approve relaxation of the city noise ordinance requested by New Brunswick Development Corporation on behalf of Michael Reeves and Company. Location 17 Seminary Place, on Saturdays from June 8, 2013 to December 28, 2013, excluding holiday weekends, from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Resolution 335, approve fiber optic cable agreement and phone hardware agreement requested by Cable Vision of Raritan. Reasons, installation of fiber optic cable in New Brunswick underground across Fire Street to service 124 Patterson Street. Resolution 336, authorization for statement of consent for amendment to water quality management plan. Resolution 337, approve request for use of city property requested by Hyacinth Ace Foundation. The location is War Memorial Park for National Testing Day for HIV/AIDS on Wednesday, June 12, 2013, from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Resolution 338, approve request for use of city property requested by Danielle Haggard. Location is Google Park Pavilion for a graduation party on Saturday, July 6, 2013, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Resolution 339, resolution authorizing the chief financial officer and other city officials to undertake certain actions in connection with the sale of not to exceed $12,804,750 bond anticipation notes. Resolution 340, approve amendment of resolution 041-363, change order number 1 regarding state highway products for 2013 furnish and delivery regulatory size not to exceed 5,121.50. Approval of this change order will constitute an increase of 20% or more of the original contract. Resolution 341, authorize release of performance guarantee and balance of site inspection fees to Sicard Housing LLC for 66 Sicard Street, amount $774.50. Resolution 342, approve amendment of resolution 051367, the recent authorization for supplemental services with Hatchmont McDonald for 2012-2013 miscellaneous engineering services not to exceed $10,000. Resolution 343, approve amendment of resolutions 229. The reason is to install 30 AMP receptacle in elevator machine room for communication equipment at 90 Nielsen Street with WPCS International for electrical maintenance and repairs not to exceed $2,549.84. Approval of this change order will constitute an increase of 20% or more of the original contract. Resolution 344, approve amendment of resolution 071254. The reason is additional funds are required with Cigna Healthcare. The term is July 1st, 2012 to June 30th, 2013, not to exceed $59,639.07. Resolution 345, resolution to approve disapprove request for change in floor plan for Dumari LLC.
Excuse me, may I ask a question about that? Excuse me, Mr. Hamilton, on this, the change in the floor plan, they have tables and chairs set up in a certain way that was approved when they first opened. Now they're rearranging and they want to change the way the tables and chairs are laid out.
No, they're really redesigning other things. It's not like Kelly's, where there was an increase in the capacity.
Okay.
It is just that they did, you have to look at the drawings.
I did look at the drawings, and it's what's proposed as opposed to what exists. Right, so it's hard to know what was changing, and which leads me to the question of how do we know when they change it? So,
They're going to draw permits, and our inspectors are going to go in, and they, copies of this were sent before the map to the various inspectors stand.
Yes, copies were sent to the inspector.
If you want to, we can hold it and get the inspectors in and have to talk to them next meeting.
No, I just wanted to get some clarity on the process, because it didn't really help me to see what they want to do, since I couldn't recreate in my head what they were.
They're also putting in a small private little dining area.
Yeah, I think some of that work
We
has
get
been
some before
done.
and after, it has been done. There was some work done, I think, I don't know for sure, but I think it's all, I don't know what happened, but it went through, it's now all through inspections and everything. I think they did some work at nighttime, and then they had to come in and go through some.
We didn't sit on it. We-
No.
We got it.
No. But maybe what would be helpful is if you gave like what was there before and what was there after to someone, maybe that would help them better.
Yeah,
Get a memo?
next time. I'm not, I don't want to.
You know, before, this is what was there before, here's what they're proposing to do after, that would probably give people a better look at, for someone that doesn't go into the place.
Well, the other thing that would throw you off is the fact that we had the big deal on Kelly's, which is not a big deal.
Right.
And this here, which is something more of a big deal, and we haven't gone through the same process.
Right. Thank you.
Resolution 346, approve ABC license renewals for 2013-2014. Resolution 347, approve application by the Brunswick Police Department to the U.S. Department of Justice for the 2013 Cops Hiring Program. Resolution 348, resolution in support of the New Brunswick Cyclovia City Streets for active leading on Sunday, October 6, 2014. Resolution 349, approve authorization to advertise for new maintenance restroom facility and shade structure at Joyce Kimball Park. Resolution 350, approve authorization to advertise roof recoating at the Brunswick Department of Public Works Administration Building. And we have an item for discussion about grant. That was a long one. At this time, please go to order. Welcome.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Council Vice President Egan.
Here.
Councilmember Fleming.
Here.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Present.
Council President Escobar.
Here. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act has been complied with and satisfied in that the annual notice, which gave sufficient notice of the time and place and content of all public meetings of the Municipal Council of the City of New Brunswick, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the City of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Review.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we will take a moment to honor those Americans and Afghans who have lost their lives in the war in Afghanistan. Thank you.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. At this time, we're going into public hearings. That is, order that ordinances. So we're gonna talk about the New Brunswick City Market 2013 budget. Resolution 061-300A, which is a resolution to read 2013 City Market budget by title.
Can we move it, please?
I move the resolution.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes.
Excuse me, Council President. Can I see who made the motion and who seconded it?
I made
Oh,
it.
Fleming.
And Betty made it,
I see.
and
Thank you.
we have resolution 061-300B. It's a resolution to adopt 2013 City Market budget.
Move the resolution.
We should read the city market budget by title first.
Oh, we haven't done it, I'm sorry. Who's reading the City Market by title first?
Whereas NJSA 40:56-84 provides that the 2013 New Brunswick City Market Inc. budget as advertised shall be read in full at the public hearing, or that it be made read by its title only if, at least 1 week prior to the date of the hearing, a complete copy of the approved budget as advertised. A, shall be posted in a public place where the public notices are customarily posted in the principal public building, and B, copies are made available to each person requesting same during said week and during the public hearing. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of New Brunswick that is hereby declared that the conditions of the NJSA 40:56-84, 1A and 1B have been met, and therefore the budget for the 2013 shall be read by title only. The New Brunswick City Market 2013 proposed budget summary. Total income of $511,295. Total administrative expense, $202,472. Total program expenses, $329,717. And the total expenses $536,845.
So we're going down to resolution. If you already read it.
Mr. Hamilton, should we entertain any questions?
Is there any questions?
Questions from the public? Regarding the reading of the city market budget?
And if
Having none?
the people for city market want to give us a brief summary.
If you want to give us just a brief, any comment or anything that you related to the budget?
Pam Stefanik, Executive Director for the Brunswick City Market. I'm just going to give an oversight of some of the changes that will take place within the budget this year. Our income is anticipated to increase by $11,000 based upon the change of the SID assessments. Administrative expenditures this year will include seasonal staff, and with cutbacks in other areas of expenditures will remain level from last year. And program expenses will increase overall by about 3%. We have an increase in downtown cleaning. We've moved money from general improvements to the awning and facade improvement grant program. And our marketing and promotions, we've allocated specifically some funding for partnering with sponsorships with other organizations so that we can bring more events to the downtown for the community. We're also looking at some capital initiatives, which include enhancements to our website, creating a mobile application, as well as several other programs. And with those initiatives, it leaves us with a minor deficit, and we're going to be utilizing about $25,550 from our operating reserve.
Thank you. You're welcome. This time, we're going to resolutions.
Vote on this per.
Well, yes.
We move the resolution.
No, we need to do this. We gotta do the second one to approve the budget. We haven't done it.
Yes.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Thank you.
I moved it.
Did you move it again?
I'll move it.
Like chicken soup.
Okay. No,
Second?
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Okay. We are done, right? Let's take a market.
I think we've got a memo from me about the change in floor plan and county school. They're represented here by Mr. Paul Sika. I will tell you that there were questions that were raised when it first came in about the request to go from 39, which is an artificial number to start with, up to 80. And 80, I don't know if still Mr. Sika's under, but 80 is the number that his architect calculated. That's the number Mr. Trump feels is necessary. But as a part of this approval process, Mr. Sika's client is prepared to install within 90 days a suppression system that will knock off the music if the alarm goes off and will generally promote fire safety. So we can hear everything you want from here, or if you're satisfied, I'd recommend you just go ahead and approve it.
Mr. Sika, would you like to address the council?
That's pretty much accurate. I think the system that he envisions is a pull system that would alert the fire department in the event of an emergency, and as an enhancement. I'm not sure the code requires it, but Mr. Kelly's here. He's concerned about his business and his patron safety.
There are two entrances to the bar. It is not been a problem, or it's under with conditions that I don't understand why, because it hasn't been a problem for years. But
So we just need a motion to approve?
if you're satisfied.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve.
Councilmember,
It's a different thing. There's two, I think there's two different things.
One is just the floor plan, and the other is the
It's
license.
a license, right? So we're doing
That
that.
come on there.
Yes,
Come on, yeah.
ladies, yes.
We're voting on one thing that's separate, which is the floor plan. And then you gotta vote on the license renewal with conditions later. Am I saying that?
You said it right.
Thank you. So I make a motion, we approve of just the floor plan, nothing to do with the license.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Is,
On the next one, on the gala, there was a request that came in a few days ago from Mr. Gus's on behalf of the gala, his client is out of the country, and we said it was okay to carry it to June the 19th, so we'll hear that on June 19th. Somebody make a motion to carry it to the 19th.
Make a motion to carry it to June 19th?
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
yes.
And on the next one, the clerk had a call late this afternoon on Tierra, again from Mr. Gus's, saying that his client did not want to contest the continuation of the conditions on the license. So that there is a resolution in there, a new resolution that I just given you, that recites that rather than reciting that the bonus given and gave you a whole lot of statistic. You can certainly hear from Mr. Bonus and satisfy yourself, but
You want to continue with the conditions, right? So,
that's what the resolution will do.
so we need a,
Make a motion to continue on the conditions on the license.
And that will be incorporated in the
Incorporated
renewal
in the renewal.
resolution when it goes through.
and this is committee, right?
Need a second.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. La famosa.
Anybody here for La Famosa?
You see the gentleman.
Madam President, we also ordered an interpreter, and I don't know if the interpreter is here or not.
Don't worry about that. If nobody's here from La Famosa, and we haven't heard anything, I'd suggest let's carry it for 2 weeks and see if they want to come in. But if they want to come in, they're going to pay for this interpreter, we're not going to pay for it twice.
Or we can also make a motion to impose the conditions on the license,
Yes.
just like we did.
That
Not
would be
showing up.
yes.
But
I'm just asking you choices. I'm not saying to do
it
it.
is a choice, but in order for the conditions to continue, we have to afford them the hearing. And we'd be assuming that they're waiving the hearing, and we don't know that that's the case.
Okay, I make a motion to wait for La Famosa for June 19th.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Now,
I think somebody said before that Mr. Seeker did not object to the continuation of licenses on Kelly's.
that's the case?
That's correct,
Hold
that's
on, he's
correct.
getting- he's getting-
I did talk to him outside.
Oh, I'm sorry, he's here.
I'm sorry.
No objection to continuation of the conditions?
No, no.
Okay, so,
Make a motion, Kelly's Corner, with the conditions to continue on the license, the EC license.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
yes. Okay, so we're going to ordinances on second reading. The first one is ordinance 051302. This is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, time limit parking on Louis Street. Does anybody wishes to comment on this particular ordinance from the public? Yes, Mr. Carter.
Charles Cradwell, Fifth Ward. I just wanted to ask what's changing? What does this law do?
Second.
You're deleting time limit parking on Lewis Street on the west side at a point beginning 45 feet from the southerly curb line of Central Avenue and extending to a point 20 feet south thereof.
I used to live on that exact area, and I don't recall any area that's 15-minute parking time limit.
That's what this ordinance does. Time limit parking area is hereby amended to delete the following. It's the area I just described.
So is it just bringing up to speed the current situation, or is there actually a change happening?
I think that Mr. Carter is self-explanatory at this point. We're just, I guess, eliminating, maybe it was there before, and it's been, Blue Street is a very small street, so I'm pretty sure they need to, so.
Why don't we both check the
Yes.
parking authority?
Anthony's here. Oh, Mr. Corbett.
Yeah, there's an existing 15-minute parking limit space in, near the intersection of Lewis and Central. It makes it difficult for us to control traffic at that intersection, to get pedestrians across. By eliminating that, we can open up the intersection a little better. We can put our other signs on the side of the roadway, and so we're just eliminating that one 15-minute parking space.
So it's just one space.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, it's going to be not able to park there anymore, right?
That's
Thank
what we. Anybody else wishes to address the council on this?
Move the ordinance?
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Ordinance 051303 is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, chapter 10, vehicles and traffic, U-turn prohibition on Tonnison Road at Stockton Road intersection, stop intersections, stop signs installed on Stockton Road and Tonnison Road and Stockton Road intersection. Anybody from the public or council wishes to address the council on this specific ordinance? Having none, can I entertain a motion?
Vance Wright.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Joseph Kent, Jr. I live on South Pennington Road. This is long in coming, but it's too short. It needs more. Right now, we have a problem. It's the school, and they have never addressed the parking of the school buses to pick up and drop off the kids, which this is involved with, because this is the corner right after the school if you're coming up Tonnison. It would be great if, no U-turn, if you can enforce it. Putting the stop signs, if you can enforce it. We have a problem, the whole town, if you're not marked for anything but 25, it's a speed limit of 25. No one, very rarely, even the school buses do not do 25 in the village or even on a lot of our streets. My concern is enforcement. If you're going to make this amendment and put these signs up, are you assured that the enforcement is going to be there so that people aren't making U-turns on that intersection?
That's the intention of this, Mr. Kennedy, because we have heard from the past of other residents who have the same challenge and concerns about that area. So this will give us more of the ability to enforce it. So, so I am expecting that we will enforce that in that area. Anybody else?
He's right, because even with the buses, probably because of the kids that come in now, it's an influx of more buses that we have. And it's a mess coming in at the end of the day, because you almost have to, well, not almost, you have to go into the opposite lane of opposing traffic, because you can't see the buses coming. It's almost like a blind alley, you're hoping that another car's not coming around. We have various, we are working with, to do other things, not just this, because I have been talking to people within the area, because there's a lot of things that we do need, because we do have problems speeding. We have people on 25 coming out 65 miles an hour at some points, and it's getting not getting dangerous, it is dangerous. And I already talked to a lot of my neighbors. We don't want to wait until something happens to say, we should have done something beyond that. And it has to be enforceable at that point, because sometimes I was talking to a few people the other day at the school, and they were concerned that it wasn't enough traffic enforcement out there, because we don't have patrols like, we don't have patrols like every place else does. So we are trying to work to do that, because I know how it is coming around. Every day, right when the school's getting out, you got to find parking, and then the streets get real narrow at that point. And you can't even drive into the right lane because the buses are already
Well, just on top of it, it's not only the school buses, a lot of parents come and get their children. So they are also blocking up North Pennington Road with both sides. You only have a single lane down the center. It's a tough situation if there is not enough room for a fire truck to safely get up there if there's an emergency, or an ambulance, because they're wider vehicles and the road is restricted.
Thank you.
move the ordinance.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Ordinance 05104 is an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Any member who wishes to address the council on this matter? Mr. Patterson? Name and address?
Charles Craddock, Plum Street, New Brunswick, wanted to ask what this is.
It is something we do annually. It establishes, there are a number of caps involved in a budget. One of the caps is that the levy can't increase by a certain percentage. Another cap is that the spending can't increase by more than 2% unless the governing body chooses to increase that, and this ordinance does that. It increases it to 3.5%. Any spending that is below the 3.5% goes into a cap that can be used in the cap calculation for the following year. We've done this every year since I've been here, since Mr. Pettix has been here, and it is advisable. It allows you some flexibility. The ultimate cap is the levy cap, and you cannot exceed that, and we don't exceed that. And as you know, the budget that we have already introduced contemplates a 1.7% increase in the levy. It is under the cap levy calculation. This is a spending issue. It creates a cap bank to be used in future years.
Thank you. Any other questions from the public related to this ordinance? Move the ordinance.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. We're going on ordinances, first reading. We have ordinance 06101, bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 0120903, which provide for the construction of the New Brunswick Landing project. Were finally adopted by the City Council of the City of New Brunswick in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey on December 16, 2009, to increase appropriation therein to $1,000,1.9 and to increase authorization of bonds or notes of the city to $1.9 million to finance part of the cost thereof. Any questions from the public on this ordinance? I know there's no questions, Ms.
I will move the ordinance, setting down Wednesday, June 19th for public hearing, same date to be advertised.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes, ordinance 06102, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Chapter 10, Vehicles and Traffic. Delete meter parking on Somerset Street alongside the View and Barnes and Noble storefronts, and add limited parking zone on Somerset Street alongside the View and Barnes and Noble storefronts.
Move the ordinance, setting down June 19th for public hearing, same date to be advertised.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes.
Could I just make a point? The agenda says add limited parking zone. I think it meant to say add time limited parking zone. But the ordinance is correct, it's the agenda.
That's the
15 minutes.
Ordinance 06103 is an ordinance to fix the salaries and wages for Firemen's Mutual Benevolent Association Local Number 17 from 2011 to 2014.
Move the ordinance, setting down Wednesday, June 19th for public hearing, same date to be advertised.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. And ordinance 04134 is an ordinance to amend the management salary ordinances from 2012 to 2014.
with the ordinance setting down June 19th for public hearing, same date to be advertised.
Roll call.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Resolutions, we have resolution 301 to resolution 350, excluding 326 we already did, which is adjourning the meeting for the gala for June 19, right?
I suppose technically we'll also include Kelly, but it's not going to hurt to adopt, and again, it's a part of the consent agenda.
Any question from the public regarding these resolutions? Yes, Mr. Crowder, name and address, please.
Ms. Crowderville, Plum Street, New Brunswick. Number 21, the arbitration payment, arbitration fees, what exactly is that for?
That was in settlement of a grievance brought against the city by one of its employees. The grievance could not be settled at a number of different steps along the way. We needed the help of an arbitrator who upheld the city's position in the matter. The $1,600 represents half of the arbitrator's fee. The union pays the other half.
And that,
Mr. Crowder?
the workers of that union do what for the city? What role do they play?
Many roles. They are the clerical employees, the public works employees, parks employees, municipal telecommunications operators, the dispatchers, positions like that.
Anything else, Mr. Crowder, until we give a chance to somebody else?
I'm happy to give a chance to anybody else.
No,
I
then
do-
you go back, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I just might as well get them all out of the way. 34, who is Michael Rice and Company? And Reese.
Construction company.
Okay, and they're like, I guess, a subcontractor from
Another
Devco?
general contract.
Okay.
Michael Reese is the name.
Okay, and I think that 7 a.m. is a little early for the noise to be relaxed for these. I mean, I guess they're gonna be tearing down buildings and making a lot of noise. These are on Saturdays, and, you know, I lived across from the wellness center when they built it, and it was kind of okay for them to be making noise at 7 a.m. because it's downtown New Brunswick, but this is more of like a neighborhood.
Well,
and
this is seminary place, and there's not enough, there's hardly.
I imagine if people who live on Mine Street could hear it, you know.
I think we've indicated before that if there was a complaint or anything else like that, they would stop and then we would go later.
Okay.
Flexibility there, Mr. Crowder.
I wanted to ask about 39. I don't know what that is. Could you explain? That's
A lot of paperwork goes out when you go to sell notes, and this is the authorization for Mr. Peck to do what you have to do whenever you're going to sell notes.
selling bond notes, okay? And then the last one is 48. I'm very much in support of the Cyclovia initiative. It sounds like an awesome thing. I'm really glad the city's getting behind it. I commend you for it. Just wanted to ask if there's any indication on like where it's going to go through the city. Is there like a planned route?
There is I don't think it is final, it might be kind of tentative, route.
The plan, the plan.
I could tell you, but if you want to,
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Mayor,
sorry.
if you want to talk about it, or the Cyclovia, the route, I know Joyce can grab it.
Like you said, the route's not fully finalized yet, but the idea is to try to connect a number of neighborhoods through the city. That's one of the goals, is to connect the different neighborhoods. So we're looking to try to come through the 6th Ward, probably through the college area, through the downtown, and then out, probably out the 4th Ward area, the Joyce Kilmer area, tentatively is what we're looking at. It'll be about, I think it's 3.4 miles total, one way. So if you do a round trip on the thing, it'd be about 6.5 miles. You can do a little bit of it, you can do the whole thing. It's just to go out there, you bike, walk, jog, pogo stick, whatever you like.
You're not familiar with it, it's started in Golden Colombia, so when they do is that they close the street and you encourage residents to come out and do walking, bicycles, skating, anything else. So that's what we're looking to do in Brunswick. So I'm very excited to have bicycle stations, activities, exercise for the kids, for the whole community. And the route that they are suggesting, which is, I think is where it goes throughout different neighborhoods. So we're encompassing not just one area. We went through the whole diverse neighborhoods in the city. So I'm very excited. I can't wait for October to have it.
Thanks so much, thank you.
Anybody else from the public wishes to address the council on these specific resolutions? Having none, can I have to take a motion to I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
No, Richmond, 154 Commercial Avenue. I'm just checking over the liquor license renewals, and I know that they've been adjourned already, but in here, there's only one of them is missing. So I'm just wondering what the conditions on all of the different licenses actually are.
On all the different ones?
Well, because you have here in this giant pamphlet that I picked up, it's got all except for Dugala in it, and I'm just wondering.
Because they gotta be not doing it tonight.
Okay,
They gotta be done in 2 weeks, June 19.
so 2 weeks and then they'll come out.
Yes, we will come back.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Having none?
34.
Resolution 34?
Let me look at it.
34?
Somebody in place.
No, I'm sorry. I got
24.
24.
Yeah.
24. Yeah, 24.
Yeah.
24. Yeah.
So we know that, and I'm abstaining on 323.
Okay, so noted.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti,
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Okay, items for discussion by the council at this time. We're gonna have, just before we start doing this, I just wanted, on behalf of the council, I want to thank everybody who has been in front of the council to talk about banning fracking. We have heard from very good presentations that the committee has done in front of the council. We have heard from both sides of the issue, so I want to thank all of you who took the time to come here and address the council on that. At this point, we have agreed, time that we're going to talk about it, to see that we're going to have presenting a resolution. That's what we're trying to do as a council. And what we're going to do is banning putting a moratorium for 3 years until the DEP reports comes back to, from this, the final report from the DEP, Federal Department of Environmental Protection, to give us a better idea of what the impact of fracking will have in communities. I think that we went back and forth with the banning and the moratorium. I think that at this point, that's the best option that the council has. Anybody from the council wishes to say something about that? Yes?
Excuse me, I noticed that on the consent agenda, we did not have a motion in this.
I moved the agenda.
She did? Yeah.
Who seconded it?
Mr. Egan.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So anybody wants to say anything else?
Are you going to read the resolution?
Yes, please. I just want to see if anybody has any, if you could read the resolution, Mr.
I
Hamilton?
need a copy of it.
You have it? You pass it if you want to read it.
Dan, you have it?
I read it. And I highlighted. I didn't have a card, because you always say,
Exactly.
I left mine in the car, because we always get them here, so.
Mr. Hamilton, I'm going to check the backup, just give me a moment. not in the backup because that was an item that was emailed to the council. earlier.
Yeah, it was email.
I actually have something in writing that you guys could consider passing. It's ready to go.
No, we have it, it's just that we just want to read it for the benefit of everybody at this point. So if you don't have it, do we want to hold it then? Because it's sort of get it out. It's basically what it says that we are supporting the moratorium. No one has 3 years.
Madam Council President, if you'd like, I can go downstairs and obtain a copy. It'll be about 5 minutes.
Okay, let's do that.
I can talk for 5 minutes.
In the meantime, should we, what we do is, let's just continue and then we come back to it when Mr. Teresi comes back. So at this time, we're just gonna have the public portion of the meeting until we get the resolution and we go back to that. Anybody in the public wishes to address the council at this time? Yes, Ms. Walsh.
Hi.
Name and address.
Hi, Jim Walsh. I'm the New Jersey Director for Food and Water Watch. I also live at 76 May Street, New Brunswick. I first would just like to thank the council for really taking a lot of time to look at this proposal. Putting it on 3 different agendas and considering it, talking about it. I greatly appreciate that. I've actually drafted an ordinance that specifically deals with a ban. I know that there is this, which I'll share with you guys here, and I know that there was a desire to do a moratorium on fracking, and that if that being all that you're willing to do, and I would hope that you would do more. But what I would encourage is, one is the DEP. I don't know, the DEP is doing a study that has no timeline, that is being done without any public input, without any sort of opportunity for public study of this process, and it's being essentially driven by Governor Christie. And so we don't have a lot of faith that the DEP's study is actually going to be an objective study that will actually lead to anything. New York State has been doing a study for the last few years, and they allocate thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in their budget to study this. There's been no money allocated to DEP's budget. I seriously wouldn't be surprised if they take the American Petroleum Institute Best Practices Manual and photocopy it and say, here's the result of our study. Because there's really no budget for it. There's no particular, so putting your moratorium based on this DEP study is just like, it's not gonna give you substantive information more likely than not to make any decision in the future about this. There's a number of other studies that are going on. But I would suggest that if you're going to do anything, rather than focusing on studies, look at a couple of things. One is there's substantive exemptions from federal public health laws that are meant to protect public health and the environment. So the Resource Conservation Recovery Act regulates hazardous waste. Fracking waste is exempt from that. That's a major part of this process. It's not actually considered hazardous, even though it contains radioactive elements, heavy metals, and the known carcinogens in it. But it's not considered hazardous, and the EPA has no authority to regulate this waste under federal hazardous waste laws. They're exempt from sections of the Clean Water Act that require the disclosure of chemicals, the Clean Drinking Water Act that would hold them accountable for pollution of drinking water sources. They're exempt from the sections of the Clean Air Act dealing with regulation of particulate matter from fracking wells and operations.
So those last 2 addressed in the resolution adopted by this council last year?
That didn't change the exemptions. It only said that you think that those exemptions are an issue. And so what I'm suggesting, instead of putting what I'm saying, through the chair, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it just, because I appreciate taking the time to watch.
What I'm saying.
Very good information, and I understand the resolutions here.
Rather than using a 3-year time frame, which is essentially arbitrary, right, and relying on one study, and there's a number of studies being done, so if anything, you should wait until there's a litany of studies being done. But why not focus it on these exemptions that exist from federal law and extend the moratorium until those exemptions are removed? And then rather than creating an opportunity where it automatically expires and action is required to be taken, make it so that the council must act after that time frame in order to allow fracking to go forward. So it's an affirmative action by the council to decide to allow fracking to go forward rather than a needing to act again. So after this information has been provided, after these exemptions have been removed, the council can have this information. These exemptions under federal law don't exist anymore. At that point in time, the council can then act to remove the ban on fracking if they believe it's appropriate, rather than setting a 3-year timeline. Would be my suggestion to actually put something in this, because I think it was one of you two, I can't remember which one, said you want to do something that's real, something that is going to do something. And I think that putting some of these teeth in that I'm talking about into this will actually make this a much stronger and more substantive policy, rather than setting a 3-year time frame that references a DEP study that's essentially flawed to begin with.
Thank you, Mr. Welch. Mr. Anderson, would you like to give the?
You can always go back.
Absolutely.
Be it resolved that the City Council of the City of New Brunswick, whereas the purpose of fracking, also known as hydraulic fracturing, is a process that can be and has been used to extract natural gas from subsurface strata of shale. The process involves the injection of water and chemicals into the ground to cause the expulsion of the natural gas embedded in the subsurface. Whereas there's a great amount of public controversy surrounding the practice of fracking, and claims by opponents of fracking that the practice is dangerous to the environment and to public health. Contrasting those critics are other people in industry and the public who contend that fracking is safe and a very important measure to increase the flow of natural gas that will help to move the United States toward greater energy independence. And whereas the members of council have reviewed the conflicting claims of the respective advocates and opponents, they are aware that Congress and the New Jersey legislature have considered the conflicting claims and have not as yet reached any conclusive determination as to whether fracking poses real concerns as to the environment and/or public health. And whereas council recognizes that there are reputable and responsible spokespersons both for and against fracking, and also that council lacks the technical expertise and resources to confront the questions implicit in the fracking controversy. And whereas council has a profound concern about and interest in protecting the environment and public health, council also is aware, not aware that the extraction industries who have promoted coal, petroleum, and natural gas production in the past have had a less than sterling record of promoting a safe environment and public health. And whereas council is concerned with the present state of affairs in which there is no regulation or control over the practice of fracking or the methods employed in fracking, council very much wants the Congress and state legislature to promptly consider this matter and to determine whether and to what extent the regulation or banning of fracking is necessary in the public interest. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of New Brunswick, the council calls upon the New Jersey Senate and General Assembly to reenact a moratorium on fracking activities in the state, pending a comprehensive review and analysis and determination on the impact of fracking on the environment and public health of the state, and whether regulation or prohibition of fracking is necessary to protect the public interest. And be it further resolved, the certified copy of this resolution be provided by the city clerk following the Honorable Christie Governor, Senator Robert M. Smith, Assemblyman Joseph B. Egan, Assemblyman Upenda Shilokul.
Okay. Yes.
Do we have a motion first and then discussion?
The discussion we had it before, but
Okay.
Mr. Welch wants to.
This is different than I think what we were really asking for, you know, in terms of actually like New Brunswick taking action to look to protect our resources here. Like the state is not acting on this, right? The federal government isn't acting on this at this point in time. And without New Brunswick and other communities around the state taking action, like calling on them to move something is certainly like not a bad thing to do. I see no reason, and I don't understand why, like, maybe the question is like, where in New Brunswick would you guys think we should be putting fracking wells? Like, is there, like, in Euclid Park? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to have them here whatsoever. And, you know, but they're trying to put them in places like Pittsburgh and Dallas, so there's no reason they wouldn't try to come to a town like New Brunswick when they do try to come in here. So I hope that we can see stronger action from the council in the future, and I look forward to working with you to get stronger, more substantive action on this issue.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. No. Anybody else want to call me? At this time? Yes, Mr. Carroll?
Yeah, I'm also,
Name and address, please.
Charles Cradaville, Plum Street, New Brunswick. I'm also disappointed with this. I really thought the council was going to do the right thing and take the lead on this, but instead, you know, this is a toothless, you know, really cop-out. And I think that, you know, instead of looking to the studies, you should take a trip to Pennsylvania like Liz Nelson invited you to and see for yourself how it actually is and how it's going and how people are getting, you know, having to get water delivered to their home every day because their water is toxic, their water has been poisoned. And I think it's important to note that yes, you know, it's conceivable that fracking could come to New Brunswick, but it's also possible that the ancillary things related to fracking, like the pipelines and the compressor stations, which in some cases are worse, they really mess up the air, they pollute, and they sometimes explode. And we don't want any of this in New Brunswick, and not one person has come up and even hedged on the issue. Everybody from New Brunswick doesn't want this, but the council is not willing to go as far as they can, and I'm disappointed. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Carroll, thank you for your comment. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Yes.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. Anybody else on the board wishes to address the council at this time? Any other matter? Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Alan Griffith, 53 Patterson Street, Brunswick. I'm the owner of Onyx Hair Design Studio, but I'm here today representing the New Brunswick Jazz Festival. If we may, we have something we'd like to.
You might come a little bit closer, so please.
I'm Candace. Hi, I'm Candace Joseph. I'm at 92 Barnett Street, part of Renaissance Station, and I'm also with the New Brunswick Jazz Festival.
Monica Weeks, I'm a resident of Somerset, also a part of the New Brunswick Jazz Festival. We have information.
If you could tell us about I know I've seen the activities that we've been having, so if you could tell us a little information about what we've been having, are you ready to get ready to the season?
Sure. We're here tonight to appeal to the council for funding. We took our time in approaching the council because we wanted to make sure we had a sustainable event. And we are confident, as we stand here tonight, that we do have something, that event that is special and unique in nature, and will become the signature event for the city of New Brunswick. We have uniquely positioned the New Brunswick Jazz Festival, which takes place over the course of 3 days, as a destination event. It has benefited the hotels and the local residents. We bring in international talent on par with any other jazz festival across the country. If I could, I'd just like to read a quote from Adrian Hughes, who is the general manager of the Hyatt, and it is the host hotel for the Sunday main event. I should preface this by saying that of the 3 days, 2 days are free events to the public. They're at the area restaurants. We pack the restaurants, and I have quotes in this piece from the restaurant owners. I think the best testimony to the success and the revenue potential is that the restaurant owners that participate come back year after year. The only paid event is the Sunday main event, and that is really to support the talent level that we bring in. So if I can read the quote from Adrian, because it really does say what our mission is through the Jazz Festival. For every week, every fall, the New Brunswick Jazz Festival presents a rhythm and energy to a culturally diverse downtown area with a twist of charity. The persistence of this festival, Team's vision boosts the local economy through jazz with purists from near and far, grooving to the tunes. Destination New Brunswick. Set your GPS. That's from Adrian Hughes, General Manager of the Hyatt Regency. Last year, we had over 1,300 people over the course of 3 days to attend this event. It's not only for the visitors. Yes, it is being billed as a destination weekend. This is not a new model. This model exists in other cities. There's the Cape May Jazz Festival. There's the Berks Jazz Festival. We just took this model because it just is right for New Brunswick. We have wonderful restaurants. We have great venues for live stages. We have 2 terrific hotels, and we've gotten the city involved. One thing you should know is that we are reaching out into the community. So this, while it does benefit the downtown residents, it also, and restaurants and venues, it also benefits the local culture. We want to bring in music that appeals to everyone. So we start the main event with the All-City Youth Latin Jazz Band, and just giving them exposure on that stage and seeing and letting them see professional jazz acts has just been wonderful for them. And it has led to other performances for them at Robert Wood Johnson, as well as other companies have brought them in as a result of seeing that. And we make tickets available to any music student at the high school and other schools and their parents, because it's important that the influencers in the home see what their children want to be, and they get to share in their vision. So we invite the community. You don't have to be able to afford a ticket to Sunday's main event to attend. We'll make tickets available to you if there's interest there. So we try to bring in something for everyone to offer a music that's appealing to the masses. So this is not just a city event. It is a cultural enhancement for the city of New Brunswick, but it is attracting people from near and far. So the upside revenue potential and why we are appealing to the council for support is that we can bring in more restaurants. We can do this bigger and better every year, but we need help. We are not a not-for-profit. Right now we are, this is the organization. We're an LLC, and we will get there to be a not-for-profit someday, and that will open up other funding opportunities. But right now, we're lean and mean, and we have very few sponsors, and we need support. So that's why we're here. This really summarizes what we do. This was Alan's vision. We all went to Rutgers. We all thought this was a great idea. It was Alan who took the dream and made it happen. And we started in the Masonic Temple across town, and we've grown every year. And now we have a partner in the Hyatt. We have support from PNC Bank. We have City Market. Thanks, Pam. We have City Market. And we've had Johnson & Johnson, and Robert Wood Johnson is also a great corporate partner. And so we just need more support from the city to make this really the destination signature event a la the Cape May Jazz Festival that we know it can be. We have a sustainable product. We know it can work, but we need the support of the council. There's just one more quote I'd like to read you, because there is something else that's unique about us. There is a charitable component to the festival. We give money away, which is very unique for a jazz organization. We bring in local charities, and we actually hosted our kickoff event at the Ronald McDonald House last year. So part of the proceeds from the festival, if there is any, goes to Ronald McDonald House. Pop Warner, we give them money up front so that they have money for their summer programs, their cheerleading and their football, as well as the United Way and Crossroads Theater Company. And in the quote from Bill Best, he speaks to that, and it says, PNC Bank has enjoyed a long-standing relationship with the New Brunswick Jazz Festival. The event's charitable component offers a welcome opportunity to embrace our shared commitment to celebrating and caring for the communities where we live and work. So we like to say that music is food for the soul, and our giving is food for the heart.
Thank you. I would say, I just saw here, I was gonna ask you some questions, but I saw this one here, what I was looking for. Let us, we don't have to talk to, Lockley, if you can look at it and see how come if we are able to assist, because I do know about the great job that everybody's.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To be clear, your request for funding is $20,000.
20,000.
Yes.
That's what
I will look at it, discuss the matter with the mayor, of course, but I would only remind you that we've introduced a budget that does not contemplate this kind of a contribution.
Maybe we could look and talk to the mayor to see if we could find any contributions or any other people in the community, company that might be able to help out, to help you out, to reach out to them.
We thank you for your consideration.
That might be another way of helping you.
Great.
Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Yes, sir. Name and address, please.
Mark Lanzo, 3 George Street, on the second with the ladies and gentlemen just mentioned Jazz Festival. This is not an issue I think that needs a 2-year investigation. I don't think it's controversial at all. As the hometown and birthplace of James P. Johnson, the composer and originator of stride piano, and the noted jazz guitarist Joe Pass, I think it behooves the council to give this endeavor carte blanche. There is no loser in this situation. So please support this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anybody else wishes to address the council at this time? Yes, Mr. Pittman. Name and address, please.
Terrell Pittman, 291 Sing Street, New Brunswick, New Jersey. I also support the Jazz Festival also. I think it's important that the youth see a different genre of music, because, you know, they get beat up when they say that all our children do is listen to rap music, hip hop, and this, that, and the other. So to bring an event like this to this nature, to this area, will be very impressive, especially since my daughter, she's playing the trumpet now. I would love for her to come actually see somebody that actually plays the trumpet live. So I too support the Jazz Festival, and if anything you can do to make this event happen, it will be an asset for the entire city. Also, I was contacted a few days ago about a quality of life issue that someone needed me to bring forth to you because they weren't able to come to the council meetings. They didn't actually have time. And it's a situation that took place on 317 Sanford Street. Lady, she's right behind George Kimmel Park, and she's saying there's urination going on and marijuana smoking and a lot of drinking in public. And she's saying she's been trying to contact the city to resolve this issue for the last 2 years. And what's been happening, it's been getting worse. And she's saying, you know, she has a young child and she can smell the marijuana while she's cooking, and, you know, all she asks is to put signs up saying no loitering, no smoking, and no public drinking, and no one's yet to do that. So I was wondering if some way you can get some result to her immediately, I mean, as soon as possible, because 2 years of someone living with that type of condition is hard. You know, I mean, she did say, you know, once she calls the police, they do come, but that burden shouldn't be on anybody to always have to call the police every day just to have a decent, you know, just for your child not to smell marijuana. I think that something should be, at least put signs up or some type of something to where they won't feel as comfortable doing that type of thing right in their backyard.
Is it on the side of the Joyce Gilmer, the track, or on the side of the...
It's Joyce Kimmel Park, actually at the back, you know, if you go all the way to the end of Sanford by the train tracks, you cut right through and go to Joyce Kimmel Park. So they slide back there, and if they're back there, and, you know, they're right behind the house.
We will look into it and see what we can do. Thank you, Mr. Pittman.
Okay. Also, I was at a press advisory meeting a few weeks ago, and they mentioned something about lemonade that's going to be due real soon. And I was just inquiring about that because I have my daughter here with me, and she's an entrepreneur. The impressive thing is, have my daughter still want to hang out with dad. That's the most impressive thing. She's an entrepreneur. A year ago, I requested that she set up a lemonade stand in the city of New Brunswick. And when I called down, the requirements was you would have to have a merchant license, you would have to have a person come out and inspect it, and you would also have to, something else you have to have, I guess, insurance. And any other township, you call and you ask them, what can you have? They say lemonade and table. So, if you're gonna have, I guess, a lemonade seminar, why would, if you're not allowed to sell lemonade in the city of New Brunswick, if you are, it's a beautiful thing. But if you're not allowed to have, sell lemonade in the city, why would you train kids to sell lemonade when they're actually gonna get a fine or a ticket later on?
I have no information on that, but yes,
Yes, Keith Jones, 56 Mitchell Avenue. The particular project that he's talking about, I personally am bringing that to the city of New Brunswick. It is a lemonade stand program which teaches kids how to become entrepreneurs from pre-K to 12th grade. The kids go over everything from budgeting to marketing to recipes, all the above. So the kids get workbooks, their parents are involved, and it's a joint program with Bisney University, and the lady who runs the program, her name is Barbara Fuller. It's been done for maybe 4 years now in Somerset. So in the process of the lemonade stands, well, let me just say, National Lemonade Day is June 1st. Being that I wanted this in New Brunswick, we wouldn't have made it in time for June 1st rollout. So what we did was push the date all the way back to the 22nd. I've talked to a couple people in administration already about presenting it to council for a resolution on the 22nd. As far as the actual selling component of it, Somerset, the way the health inspectors use it, the kids had to display a sign on their lemonade stand where there was a table that said, not inspected by the health inspector, pretty much this is at your own risk. They had this waiver put on their tables, and this was the protocol for the event. What I've asked from Franklin Township is that same type of information to present to administration and the city so we can possibly get that same rollout. The difference between this and Mr. Pittman's daughter's situation is this is not a business, this is a program, and being that these are New Brunswick children, it makes sense. It's not a child coming into New Brunswick to sell lemonade. These are New Brunswick kids, in a program about being entrepreneurs in the city of New Brunswick. And that's the difference. And that's all it is. And this is strictly for New Brunswick kids.
Can I ask you, is it anticipated that they would be selling the lemonade like every Saturday in the summer, or just one day?
Again, the national day is June 1st, national. It started in Texas. New Brunswick's day for this particular year would be June 22nd, right? And that one day, the goal, I would love to see 100 lemonade stands around the city of New Brunswick with kids ranging from pre-K to 12th grade selling lemonade. If it was in Somerset or Franklin Township, the only thing they require the kids to do is have this notice on their lemonade stand or table saying that it wasn't inspected by the health inspector. But this is not a business, so that's the difference.
But this is something, so we are, I do see some point where I'm saying, I like the fact that we're going to train the kids and we're going to give them the tools. I love that program. So, but eventually, these kids are from New Brunswick and we empower them to be entrepreneurs, to do this. We need to make sure, check with the Department of Health and how it affects, because the kids should know that. So they don't expect that after this, they do this big activity and we learn all of this and we had this day that we sold lemonades, later on we cannot do it. So we need to look at it for the future.
So here's the thing. So again, this is a program with parents involved. After lemonade day, there's actual, what you call a lemonade stand challenge, where they have to go through all of this. If I'd have known this was gonna be a topic, I would have brought the workbooks to show you, you know, so the parents work with the children. So everything from, you know, dealing with health inspectors and all, that's not in the program. But of course, it's, you know, about your investors, your budget list, and stuff like that. We work, myself and Barbara Fuller, you know, work with the families on this particular one project. I mean, of course, we can write a letter saying, all right, well, look, you sold lemonade today for lemonade day. Now, you can't go out there and sell lemonade tomorrow because this is what happened to you. You know, be shut down by us. Yeah, of course. But it's totally different, separate from what he's saying.
But the premise behind it is to lead them with entrepreneurial skills. Is to lead them with those skills. So, like you said, like there's some points when you want to set up a business, you're going to have to go through the inspection. You know, a legitimate, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have to go through that. You're going to have to set up investors. You know, so it's not really what we hear you saying. It's not really about the limit. I mean, it is about the lemonade, but future down the road, you're trying to build the entrepreneur skills that's going to plant a seed that'll grow. You know what I'm saying? So now they're entrepreneur minded. So you're not going to have kids setting up. You know, I mean, I can see it now how it's happening. You don't want to saturate the market, you know, with lemonade stands.
No, but here's the thing. This is we're dealing with pre-K, 12th grade. So we're not taking kids that are going to say, well, look, I'm starting this business tomorrow, and we're off to the races. This is a program that initially introduces kids to becoming entrepreneurs. The whole premise, the whole base of this is to break up some of the stale programming in the city of New Brunswick that we've had for, you know, 30 plus years, which is all great programming, but it's at a point it's stale, you know, because, you know, the times have changed, kids want to do different things, and so we got to kind of move forward with the times. That's the whole goal of this program. Lemonade stand, New Brunswick has never done anything like it, you know, so that's the whole goal, to bring just the entrepreneurial aspect to a program through Lemonade. It's a one-day event. We'll make sure that everybody has the proper signs or whatever we need to do to go through the city to do it the right way. We will do it. We will also notify all the parents, because we have consent forms for the children, we have consent forms for the parents, so we will notify them if anything prior to this, I mean after this, if you're trying to sell and you don't go through the proper channels, then, you know, but it's totally separate from starting a business in the city of New Brunswick than a program.
I have a third grade in one of my programs.
Well, I need you to sign her up.
Some lollipops, okay? No, it gets well louder, okay?
I don't want to give you guys the wrong impression, you know. Like I said, you know, I requested, this is the things that I found out, trying to get my daughter started an entrepreneur, get her entrepreneurial spirit. Which it didn't kill me, because she has an Italian ice card, her own personal car. And she bought her own iPhone, all types of electronics just from the last year. So she knows, you know, she actually hired a 16-year-old to work with her and paid her pretty good. So I understand that, you know. What I'm saying is, my thing is, if we could have lemonade stands throughout the city, I'm all for it. And where she lives, Mom Junction, you can actually have, all you need is lemonade and the lemonade recipe. That's all that's required. I don't want children to get the impression that they can, you know, if you can have lemonade day, but you can't sell lemonade. So, you know.
Well, we got that. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to make sure that this program might not happen, but maybe later on, you know, it would be something that we would add.
Oh, it would be a beautiful program. It would be an excellent program. I just, you know, like I said, it makes sense to me if they can sell lemonade, you know, you set the stand up and you got to go get inspected and all that. And no other township, Franklin, might not require that. But here it does. And so, you know, at least educate them on that.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
Last but not least, what happened in Lincoln School? Let's get right to it.
What happened in Lincoln School?
Yeah.
You don't think they were straight grades?
Well, from my understanding, which I wasn't there, but from my understanding, it was a bomb scare.
Well, that was taken as much as best as I know, that was taken care by the police. That's a Board of Education matter. I think that you should have a Board of Education is the thing that happened, what happened, and how they deal with it, and policy is different from us.
Oh, no, it's not different. because the police were actually the ones who went into the school. And my question is, why did police make the decision to evacuate the school?
That's what I'm telling you, there's different policies to the Board of Education and the police, there's policies and the process are different. In the Board of Education, the schools, the ones that made the police is not the one, the police has to follow whatever policies the Board of Education has.
What were the policies?
Go to the Board of Education meeting and ask them what is the process and ask why the police, and they will give you the information.
All right. Why was the media made aware of this bomb scare?
Again, Board of Education issue.
So you have nothing to do with, because if I go there and they send me back here, it's, you know.
Like I said, I think that the best place for you to get those answers is the Board of Education meeting. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Pittman. This time, I'm going to take a motion to adjourn. Yes, Mr. Cracker.
Move to adjourn.
I'll give you one break because we're almost done. Mr. Cracker, one question before we finish.
I actually haven't asked any of my questions yet for the public comment.
Mr. Cracker?
I'll be quick. I'll start. Totally support funding the Jazz Festival and legalizing lemonade stands, both very good issues. I also wanted to ask about the Lincoln School situation.
Listen to me.
Yes.
We already had a motion and a second. I'm allowing you to do one question before we finish. We're ready. Please.
You know, this really isn't fair that everybody else gets to speak for as long as they want and I don't get to speak, you know. It's,
don't go there because I let you talk all the time.
I asked about the resolutions. Now this is the open public comment.
Do you have a question before?
I have several questions and several points I'd like to make. And if this is so hard, I would be happy to take your job. If this is not, if you can't stick around the meeting until everybody's had the chance to speak, let somebody else do the job.
And that's what you're saying, because you are one person that I allow, and like everybody else, to make questions. I just asked anybody from the public. I said, nobody, we did a motion a second, and you decided to ask a question. So you know what? Let's wait for the next meeting. I thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. Have a good evening.
Councilmember Anderson.
Disgraceful.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming. Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes.